President Donald Trump makes his second visit to the mid-state since taking office.
Air Force One landed this afternoon, and the commander-in-chief made his way to the Opryland Hotel to deliver a message to farmers. News Channel 5 has team coverage tonight of the presidential visit. Let's start with Chris Conti, who was on hand for the president's address. Chris.
Well, Vicki, this was a 35-minute speech, and nearly every single person inside of this packed ballroom was hanging on nearly every word that the president had to say here today. They are packing up the chairs here right now. Folks are long gone after spending hours in line waiting to get in to see the president here today. He knew what he was doing here today, coming and speaking to a favorable crowd about rolling back taxes a couple of months ago and also trying to roll out a lot of deregulations for the farm industry today. Essentially here, he was just trying to fire up his base that delivered that decisive victory back in 2016. We did hear some specifics about policy. A lot of farmers here, even though they tell us that they voted for the president, are still having a hard time trying to grapple with the fact that President Trump wants to do away with the North American Free Trade Agreement, or NAFTA. Essentially, that lets a lot of these farmers out here trade their commodities, their soybean, their corn, some of their dairy and their beef to Mexico and to Canada. The president said he wants to do away with that, but his supporters here today want him to keep it in place because that is a very large market for them. The president drew about 5 different standing ovations today when he talked about the Second Amendment and people not disrespecting the flag or the national anthem. The president here was the first one to speak to this delegation of Farm Bureau convention goers for the first time in 2.5 decades.
We are honoring America's proud farming legacy. Years of crushing taxes, crippling regulations, and it's never been worse than it was before I got here. It was horrible. And corrupt politics left our communities hurting, our economy stagnant, and millions of hardworking Americans completely forgotten. But they, guess what, are not forgotten anymore.
When the president was here last time, he simply delivered a speech. This time, he delivered on policy, signing not one, but 2 executive orders that will expand broadband access to rural parts of the country. That was exciting. A lot of the room here today, as most of the folks here were from rural parts of the country who are farmers. The president was flanked there by a number of Tennessee's politicians, including Bob Corker and Governor Bill Haslam. The president then left Opryland here, went back to the airport, and has since departed for Atlanta, where he is going to be watching the college football championship game tonight of UGA versus Alabama. A very busy day here at Opryland Hotel, but things went completely as planned. No incidents to speak of, which was what everyone here was hoping for. We're live at the Opryland Hotel this evening. Chris Conti, News Channel 5.